Hello, fellow artists. This is Ashley with Lulu's Paintbrush, and we are going to be painting an ornament today for Christmas in July. We're going to be working on doing a snowman on this little round. I grabbed this from Walmart, so you don't even have to cut anything out, and I'm going to show you how to paint a cute snowman ornament. All right, so the very first thing we're going to do is paint the background. I went ahead and did that already, so it wouldn't take any time. And then I'm gonna grab some white paint and just a flat paintbrush, and I'm gonna make some circles. So I'm gonna try to work through this with you in shapes so that you can do this. I have a template as well. So if you'd like a template for this time, maybe like the rest of this week, I will go ahead and if you give me your email, I will email you the template so you can go ahead and trace all this on there. But if you don't wanna use the template, you can go ahead and just freehand it. Now I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that. So the first thing we're gonna do is make a circle, all right? So when I show people how to make circles or polka dots, what I do is I'm gonna hold my brush up and I'm gonna do a C and then a backward C, all right? Or you can say counterclockwise and clockwise, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'm gonna go ahead and fill that in. And that is our snowman's head, okay? And this is just craft acrylic paint. This is actually from Walmart, so it's not very expensive at all, and it is the apple barrel paint. So that is what that is that I'm using right now. And I'm just gonna go ahead and fill this in, go around. You can kind of clean up any edges you need to. Now, we're gonna go ahead and add 2 more circles. You're not really gonna see the whole circle on the bottom, but we're gonna go ahead and add them in to make the rest of the snowman's body. I'm gonna go a little bit bigger, so I'm gonna pull out a little bit more with my paintbrush. So I'm gonna start up here. Again, I'm gonna do a backward C and then a regular C and then a backward C. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out here. Backward C, lifting my brush, and I'm gonna go ahead the other way. All right, so the body's a little bit more of an oval-y shape because it's gonna get he's a little, plump snowman. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill this in here. Now, while this is wet, I am gonna come up here in this circle and I'm gonna kind of just clean that up. So it looks like the head is sitting on top of the body, if you can see that, because you can definitely see the paint strokes, and I wanna make sure that it looks like his head is on top of his body and not underneath his body. All right, so I'm pulling this down here. A little bit more paint on my brush. Clean that up. All right, now I'm gonna do the same thing underneath. And remember, while we're doing this video, you can pause and rewind at any time, so you can take your time, go back. You can let things dry if you want, but just enjoy the process, take your time, no need to rush or keep up with what I'm doing. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and do the last part of the body. Now this, I don't have to go, obviously, make a big circle because I'd run out of wood here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pull out a little bit more, make it look a little bigger on each side, and just kind of do like an arch just down. And then I'm gonna go ahead and fill that in as well. Just like that. Now this snowman can be on any kind of shaped wood, really. This is just a circle I had that I got from Walmart. You can also grab these from the Dollar Tree, or if you have any like little scrap woods or even a canvas. They make those little canvases that you could definitely hang up to with like a little ribbon on a tree or whatnot. So, okay, so I've got that. Again, just like I did with the head, I'm gonna kind of fix this here, just kind of pull my paint this way to make sure it looks like this body is on top of this piece right here. All right, so I'm gonna go back over real quick and add another coat, because you can definitely see the blue through the white. So I'm just gonna go back over on the head, and then the 2 parts of the body. Okay, just fill this in here with the paint. I'm watching my lines here because it's the strokes, so it looks like his head is on top. Okay, just like that. And then we're gonna fill in this last little circle, well, I guess, some big snowball down here at the bottom. All right, now the next thing we're gonna do is grab a little bit of this blue, and we're going to make the snow look cool. And I'm gonna show you in just a second how to do that with a tinier brush. All right, so now all I'm gonna do to make this snowman look cool is I'm gonna add a little bit of the blue on a smaller paintbrush, and I'm just gonna go around the outside of his head, coming down here to his, I guess, his snowman chin. I'm gonna grab the white paintbrush and I'm just gonna blend it in lightly, just like this. Just going right over that blue with my white, blending it in. And you're gonna see it's gonna make it look like it's cool. Blend it just a little bit more. And you can add as little or as much as you want. I'm gonna come back in a little bit more blue. Hold on one second. Let's grab a little bit more of that blue. Pulling it down like that. And this just makes it look kind of icy, I guess, is what I'm looking for. All right, you can wipe off your paintbrush if you have a little bit extra blue and grab some more white and just kind of blend it around. You want to make sure that your white underneath is wet while you're doing this. All right. Kind of got a little extra blue on there. I'm going to try to put a little bit more white, blend it out. All right, so you can kind of see it kind of gives it like an icy cold look to it with the blue. All right, so now I'm going to go right in underneath here and do his belly. So when I'm doing this, I'm not going to come up to the top. I'm just going to come down here like in a U shape, okay? Because the bottom of his chin, bottom of his head, I want to be separate from his body, okay? So I'm going to grab my blue and do the same thing again, making sure that this is wet, and I'm just going to just touch a little bit, okay? And then I'm going to grab my white and go right back in and blend it down. All right, so pulling down here and down here, adding more white, just kind of blending it out. Okay, and this gives them just the icy cold look with that little bit of blue. And I think it kind of also separates his snowballs as well. All right, adding a little bit more down here at his bottom. So I'm gonna grab my white and I'm just gonna blend this out and down. And the side as well. Okay, and I'm not going up here because I'm gonna leave that bottom of the snowball to kind of show a separation right there. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more. All right, and add some more white, just kind of pull that in too. Okay, now the next thing we're gonna do is we are gonna add his snowman hat. All right, so when we're doing this, we're gonna use black and we're gonna use a smaller brush as well. All right, so go ahead and grab your black and we're gonna work on that. Okay, so Mr. Snowman's hat is going to have, it's a top hat, right? So it's gonna have a line across, and then we're gonna give him kind of like a square-ish, rectangle-ish shape hat, okay? So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go right across. I actually like to have my snowman hats kind of tilted a little bit, kind of gives them a little personality. So I'm just gonna take my paintbrush and I'm gonna paint a line across. And now I'm gonna go up from that line, and we're gonna make a square-ish rectangle. So I'm gonna pull it, and as I do it, I'm actually gonna curve out just a little bit, okay? I feel like it kind of just gives him a little, he's got some style. He's got a little funky hat. Not funky, but like, I don't know. His hat has style. It's not just a straight up and down hat. His hat kind of curves a little. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and fill this hat in. Okay. Now, I'm also gonna put a band down here, so I can leave that if I want, or I can fill it in and I'll add some white on top. Since I have the edges, I'm just gonna go ahead and fill it in, so when I go ahead and do his little band, it's gonna kind of look a little more cohesive and not like there's dark lines on the outside of it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish this. I can actually, if you think that his hat looks a little too skinny, you can go ahead and just pull it out a little bit more and do the same thing again. All right, so got that filled in. And now since black is filled, it colors pretty well, we're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of white, and I'm just gonna touch the top of it a little bit, just like that, okay? And then maybe down the side. All right, and I'm gonna take my black and I'm just gonna blend it. Not a bunch of black, just a little bit, just so you can kind of see a little highlight on his hat. I'm gonna add a little bit more. You can always add more. Okay, just a little bit more. And if you wanted to leave it like that, it almost looks like a little snowy too, but I'm gonna blend it out just a tad. All right, and that kind of just gives a little highlight to his his top hat. And I might add just a little bit of the white right in here on the rim of his hat as well. Just a little bit. Okay. All right, so I think his hat is looking cute. Now, as our hat is drying, I'm gonna go ahead and move on down to his little face. So I'm gonna grab a smaller, like a thin brush, and we're gonna go ahead and make some little eyes for him. Now, if you don't wanna paint on your eyes, you can grab the back of your paintbrush, like a small paintbrush like this, and dip the paintbrush into paint and go ahead and make the eyes like that. You can do that. You could grab puffy paint and make, dab little puffy paint eyeballs on there as well. I am going to grab a small paintbrush if I can find one. I always have a million paintbrushes, but I can never find the one that I want. That's just kind of how it goes. All right, let's see. We'll use this one. This is fine. All right, so I'm gonna grab a little bit of paint on my paintbrush, and all I'm gonna do is kind of make little ovals, all right? Or they can be circle if you want, but I'm gonna make mine little ovals. All right, and fill that in. This paintbrush is a little thicker than I want it to be, but that's okay. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and do another little eyeball over here, just kind of space them out a little bit. One thing is when you're painting like cute little whimsical faces and stuff like that, the spacing of the eyes really does make a difference. So if you put eyeballs closer together or farther apart, it really does change like the look of the little character you're painting. All right, so I'm gonna have, oh, there we go. Oh, I just kind of got some on there. So I'm gonna kind of try to make these a little the same size. Yeah, this paintbrush is bigger than I'd want, but that's okay. All right, let me see. Sometimes I have to pick it up and look at it too. Eyes are funny. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I am going to let that dry for a minute, and then we'll go ahead and put like a little shimmer in his eyes too. But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna move on to his nose. As I finish up his, I feel like his one eye is bigger than the other. Maybe he's like wincing or something. All right, that's good enough. I better leave it alone. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna rinse my brush or grab another brush, and we are gonna grab some orange for his nose. I like to make my little snowmen, I like to have them have kind of a nose that's pointing up. So all I'm gonna do is kind of do like a little like rounded edge right here. And I'm gonna start right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull up. And it can even go off the snowman's face too. And then I'm gonna start down here and do the same thing, kind of follow and go in a little closer as I get to the end, and then the very end is gonna touch the other line. So if you can see that, just like a little orange nose, and then you can make it go a little further if you want. And I also kind of have it, so you can see it's not completely smooth. It almost looks like it just turned up a little right here. Okay, just like that. We'll let that dry for a second, and then we're gonna go back in and add some highlights to it. But right now I'm gonna rinse my brush again, and we're gonna add a smile. So I'm gonna make mine just little round circles. You can again grab the back of your paintbrush and just dab the paint into it and then make the circles that way. But I'm gonna grab my paintbrush, just a tiny bit on my paintbrush, and I'm gonna start up here, and I'm making little circles. So I'm gonna do a C and then a backward C. Okay, so there's one part of his smile. Here's another one. C and backward C. Okay, and they don't have to be perfectly round because it's coal, right? So, and I don't think I've ever seen coal that was perfectly round. So it can kind of be like a little jagged on the edges. All right, and I'm gonna keep going right here, and I might do, let's see, one more, two more, let's see. Probably one more. Okay, so he's got his super cute smile with some coal. All right, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna rinse our brushes again, and we're gonna start on the scarf. All right, so I'm just gonna grab some spring green. This is apple barrel paint, just like the other paints I'm using. I think, let's see, the only one that's not apple barrel right now is the orange that I use, but you can get an orange in apple barrel as well. So let's see, when I do use a lot of apple barrel paints, but I have come to like the deco art a little bit more, but it does cost a little bit more. So, okay, all right, I'm gonna grab some paint on my brush, and this is just another round brush, And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a line right under his head. So I'm gonna start a little bit out further than his main body part, the middle body part. Okay, so I'm gonna go out just a little further and I'm gonna just go right along the edge of his head. Okay, so just like a little arched line. All right, and then I'm gonna come down, and as I do this, I'm gonna pull out further than his body, just a little bit, okay? And I'm gonna do kind of like a little curved line right there. And then also right here, okay? So you can see that. And then I'm gonna connect those two, all right? I'm gonna connect these two lines right here, and I'm gonna have it curved, okay, and pulled right up to there. Then I'm gonna go ahead and fill that in with my paint. Okay, he's got a nice chunky scarf to keep him warm. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have his scarf ends kind of flying up, a little flare with his scarf, okay? It's cold and blistery and windy out, and so his scarf is flying. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start right in the scarf a little bit in, okay? And I am just gonna do like a big curly Q, like that, all right? You see that? So it's almost like a big C, okay? And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna connect it to another line to make his scarf, all right? So I'm gonna start down here again. I'm gonna kind of go along the line of that. You can pick your brush up, it's no problem. Grab some paint, keep going. All right, now when I get to the end, I like to make the end a little wider, all right? So all I'm gonna do is pull out a little bit. All right, so it's skinnier here, and as I get to the end, it gets wider. All I'm gonna do is connect those two lines like this, all right? And we're gonna fill that in, and then we're gonna go ahead and start on the other side of a scarf. All right, so just filling this in. We'll have to go over another coat. I'm actually grabbing some white from this, so that's all right. If you're ever having trouble covering with a color, if it's pretty transparent, adding a little bit of white really does help. It'll kind of change the color a little, but it does help cover more. All right? All right, so I've got one side of his scarf done. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing again, and he's gonna have his scarf is going up. It doesn't have to curl necessarily as much as the other side, but we're gonna have it going up. So let's see, let's kind of, all right, well, it's gonna curl like that. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the same exact thing I just did. I'm gonna add another line, kind of go with the other line that I just did, and have it go skinnier and then a little thicker as it reaches the end. All right, just like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and connect those two lines and fill that in. I like to, when I'm painting, I kind of like to color block everything, so I get everything kind of painted how it's gonna be, and then I go back and add the details. So we're just gonna kind of color block this all in, and then as it dries, we'll go back and add the details and the hat and the eyes and nose and all that. Okay, so I'm gonna probably put a little bit more green on here just to make sure it's covered pretty well. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add his buttons. So I think for his buttons, I'm gonna make them red, I think. Yes, we'll make his buttons red. So I'm gonna grab my red, I'm gonna use that same small brush that I've been using and grab a little red, and this is Apple Barrel flag red. Grab a little bit of that. I'm gonna make some little buttons on him. It could be cold too, I guess, if you wanted it to be cold, but I'm gonna add a little color. So I'm just gonna put two buttons right here. So I'm gonna have one here. Again, I'm making like the C and the backward C right here again. You can make them bigger, smaller. All right, and another one right here. Kind of little, they kind of look like little candies or something on his belly. Okay, all right, we're gonna let those dry. And then one more color we're gonna use is brown. So we're gonna make his arms. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a little bit of brown. I have some melted chocolate here, and that's Apple Barrel as well. But again, you can use any brand paints you want for this. Just, you know, and you can use any colors you want. I've done snowmen like these with pink and purple and all different colors. So it doesn't have to be red and green for Christmas. Okay, so all I'm gonna do is make his little stick arms, and his little stick arms are gonna go, they're just gonna go down. I guess you could, if you wanted to, like make one go up too, but I'm just gonna have him go down because I'm gonna add some snowflakes too. So all I'm gonna do, really simple, I'm gonna pull one line down, and I'm just gonna go to the edge. All right, just pull it down. All right, like that. And then I'm gonna give him like a little branch off of that limb, I guess. Just like a little, he's got a little finger. Maybe he has two. We could add another one. All right, just little, he's just got some little hands. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on this side, and I can like make it go further down, or I can make it go up or out or whatever. I'm just gonna kind of, his hands are down right now. Okay, make it a little thicker. Okay, I'm just making a line. And really when you're painting, you just kind of look at the shapes and stuff. So I hope this kind of helps with me telling you kind of the shapes that I'm doing. I hope it helps. So now we've got the gist of everything, where everything's gonna be. So we're gonna go ahead, back up, and work on his hat. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of white, and I'm just gonna kind of paint over where I want his little band to be. So I'm gonna make it like, so it's gonna stop before the rim of the hat, so I'm gonna pull it across right here. And the reason I'm putting white is just so that it's not, when I'm painting my color, which I'm probably gonna do, I'll do green, I guess, because I'm gonna put, well, no, let's do red. I'll do red. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this across here. And I'm doing this so that when I do paint a color over it, it's not gonna be as dark. So the white's kind of covering that black a little. All right, just like that. I'm just kind of making a long rectangle right there. All right, so that's gonna cover the black some. So when I go to paint my red, it is going to cover a little better for me. All right, so I'm gonna rinse in my brush real quick. I'm gonna add some red, and I'm gonna go right over it. It's probably gonna mix with the white a little bit, but that's okay. All right, because I'm gonna put little holly berries up here too. Just like that. And if you go over on the black or the blue, you can always touch it up. That's not a problem. It's real easy to just touch it up and fix it a little. So let's end right here. Like that, okay? All right, and then you can also just add a little bit of white in here too to make it look like he's got some highlight. So I'm just gonna dip the same brush I'm using right in white, and I'm just gonna kind of, you can see it looks like a little highlight right on his little band of his hat. Okay, now while that's drying, I just keep working here. While that's drying, we're gonna go ahead and move on to his eyes. Now all I'm gonna do for this, since his eyes look pretty like filled in pretty well, I am just gonna take a tiny bit of white and add just a little glimmer in his eyes. And all you have to do for this is grab a small brush and dip it in the end. Dip the end in the paint is what I'm trying to say. And then put, my little one is in here. She's trying to help me too. A little bit of paint on your brush, and you're just gonna go in there and just lightly touch. Just like that. Okay, so it kind of gives him a little glimmer in his eyes. And then we're gonna go ahead and work right on with the orange. So I'm doing this, grabbing my paintbrush again. I'm gonna grab some orange and some white. Okay, just like this. All right, and I'm gonna grab the white, and all I'm gonna do is kind of go from the top, kind of halfway. Oops. I'm gonna go halfway down a little bit. Just adding a little white, and as I do that, I'm gonna kind of pull it with the orange paint. So the orange paint is still wet since I just went over it, and I'm kind of just blending it in. I'm not gonna go all the way down because I want the bottom of his carrot nose to look a little darker, so it kind of looks like maybe snow fell on his nose or some of the light is hitting it. Okay, and you can add a little bit more if you want to, a little bit of white to stand out. I'm gonna just do that. All right. Okay, now his little coal smile, I might just add a little bit of white highlight on that. So I'm just gonna grab a thin brush again, tiny bit of white. As I'm putting it on my brush, I'm gonna wipe a little bit off too, just so I don't have tons, because I just wanna do a little teeny accent on my pieces of coal, okay? It's just really little. You can see I'm just barely touching. Just a little highlight on his little coal smile. Okay, so if you do have some green showing through, you can go ahead and add a little bit more. I'm not gonna worry about this drying completely as I do my red stripes, but also, you don't have to do red stripes. You could do a lighter green stripes, you could do polka dots, you could do black stripes, you could do anything really on his little scarf. But I'm gonna go ahead and add some red stripes on his scarf, okay? So I'm just kind of going over this just a little bit just to make sure everything's covered well. Okay. I don't think there is one video that I have made where I haven't had one of my kiddos trying to help or be a part of it in some way. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna rinse that brush out real quick and I'm gonna grab my red. I'm just gonna go right over it. I'm not gonna worry about it drying right now. So all I'm gonna do is grab some red and I'm gonna start, let's start over here because as I move, I don't wanna smudge that paint. I am just gonna kind of put a line. So I'm just making a line and I'm gonna stop at the end. And now as I do this, I'm gonna make sure that I'm kind of putting my lines with the way the scarf is going. So I might kind of curve it just a tad like this. Okay, see how I'm kind of curving that line. I'm not making it go straight across. It's kind of curved as I'm going around it. Because remember, his scarf is flowing in the cold, snowy wind. Definitely not the temperatures we're feeling right now. It is hot. But we're thinking cool thoughts, thinking cool Christmas thoughts right now as we're doing this. Okay? All right, and I'm gonna stop here, right? Because this part of the scarf is coming out and out from underneath. Now, I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna go like in a different direction. So we're gonna go again with the way the scarf is moving. So I'm gonna start here and do a line. And I'm kind of curving again. And then when you get about halfway, you can have the lines go the other way. So now I might have it go this way, just to kind of show the way the scarf is laying on him. His big puffy scarf. All right, okay. And then we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing we just did over here, and I'm gonna have these stripes kind of going with the way that the scarf is. Okay, I'm gonna turn it. I end up turning my paintings a lot. This works a little better for me as we're going. Okay, and then one last stripe. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that brush and I'm gonna add some little wispy fringe, I guess it is, at the end of the scarf. So all I'm gonna do is come right off that end line and I'm gonna do whoop, like little wispy. He's got some fringe on his scarf, just a flying. And this one as well. Just like that, little whoops, whoops, there we go. Just flying. Okay, so scarf's looking good. I can also go back in and add a little white to it as well, like grabbing a tiny bit of white and then just kind of going over. I can look at that, adding some white little fringe in there. Oh, that looks pretty. He is a stylish snowman. All right, adding a little bit of white on here. Just to highlight a little bit. Doesn't have to be on every one, just a few places. Okay, same thing up here. Okay, maybe I'll do other ones too. All right, and then kind of adding a little here, and then we're gonna add some more up in his fringe too. I guess that's what it's called. I don't know. That's what I'm calling it. All right. And just quickly light little strokes to make it go in different ways. Okay, all right, now let's move on to his little buttons. Since I already have that red, I'm gonna go ahead and just add a little bit more red just to make sure it's covered pretty well. And then we're just gonna add a tiny bit of white, just like we did for his little coal smile, just a little bit of white on my paintbrush. And I'm just gonna do a little highlight, nothing huge or crazy, just a little bit, just to show a little highlight in his buttons. Okay, and then what we'll go ahead and do is add a little bit of white into our brown arms that he has. I'm gonna grab a little bit of brown and just kind of go over them again and add a little bit of white in there. I'll throw this on there. Okay, adding a little bit of white, just a little bit, not a bunch. Just kind of, and then blending it down. Okay, same thing over here. Adding a tiny bit of brown again. And a little bit of white. Okay, it's looking really cute. All right, now all we're gonna do is add a little bit of holly berry at the top, and then maybe a few snowflakes, and we'll be done. So let's go ahead and grab green. So I'm rinsing my brush off. I'm gonna grab a little bit of green. Now, if you don't wanna do like the traditional holly berry leaves with the, I don't know, like I guess they got little spiky parts on them. I don't know. You could just kind of do a round leaf. Let me just show you real quick. Let's do it. Do I have something I could paint on at the moment? Let's see. Okay, we're gonna take this plate that I have. Okay. All right, so you could either do something like this, where it's, sorry, excuse the dirty paint plate. Something like, you know, like these little spiky ends to it, you know, something like that. I'll fill it in a little for you. Or you could also just do something like this. Hold on. Where if you wanted to, you could kind of do, you know, like just like a little rounded leaf. Might be a little easier as well. Okay, so up to you. Whatever you want to do. I'll go ahead and do like tiny little of the spiky leaves. That's not even like the correct thing to call it, but we're gonna do that. Okay, so this guy has some spiky leaves and I'm just gonna put them up here. All right, all I'm doing for that is just pulling out, just making like little curves. This is hard because it's tiny, but we're gonna get it. Okay, same thing again, just kind of pulling out and down. All right, filling it in. Okay, kind of lost a little bit of shape, but that's all right. We'll fix that. Okay, so it's just a little leaf right there. Gonna add a little bit of white in it. Maybe that'll kind of help its shape a little bit. Okay, now I'm gonna add another one going on to the black part. So let's see if it, oh, that's too much paint on there. It's just a little bit of paint, okay? Doing the same thing. Okay, that's not too bad. My paintbrush is too big for this, I think. Also, all of this that I'm doing, you could definitely do with a paint pen, like Posca pen, or like those painter pens. I think they're called like painter's pens or something at Walmart. I'm sure there are other places too. Or like the Sharpie paint pens, you could use those as well. If you wanted to paint like the big stuff and then do the details with paint pens, you could definitely do that as well. Okay, so pull that down a little bit. All right, now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some berries. So again, you could take the bottom of your paintbrush and dip the back of your paintbrush into paint, or you could paint it with the front. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make, now this is on red, so we're gonna have to kind of make it stand out a little bit with some white, but I'm gonna make 3 circles. And I'm gonna have to come back in with white because you can't even tell what that is right now. If I would have made my my band green, it might have stood out a little better. So let me get some more white. And we're gonna fix that up just a tad. Okay. Now all I'm gonna do is kind of go in the circular motion of my berries. So they're just gonna be a little lighter. So we can tell I definitely made that white. All right, let me get a little bit more red. Okay, so there. Not super detailed, but you can tell what they are. All right, so all you're gonna do is just you can kind of blend them in a little bit more. There we go. All right, so we have our snowman done. Now we're gonna go ahead and outline everything. Now, you may be thinking this snowman looks a little off. It looks a little different and not like the snowman you were just looking at. And that is because it is not. Because I did not have a paintbrush that was the right paintbrush for outlining the snowman. So I had just to stop and I had to redo it all over again because I was just not feeling the lines on this other snowman. And I'm gonna show you, 1 second. So here's our original snowman, and he definitely had some crazy thick lines, and I was not too happy with that. So it just shows you how paintbrushes do make a difference. The paintbrush I had was like a little bit of a thicker round brush, and it had frayed like bristles and all that, and I was just too lazy to get myself up and grab another one. So once I did that, I was like, well, now I just really messed it up and I gotta grab a new paintbrush. So I did that, and now I have a better paintbrush, and I repainted everything, and I'm gonna go ahead and go over and outline everything now. So I'm just taking a very nice thin brush so the bristles aren't crazy, and I am going to outline my snowman. All right, so I'm very little bit of paint on my brush. I'm wiping some off, and I'm going to lightly go around, and I'm not going to do a bunch of thick lines. Okay, look at that. Look how much better that looks already. I'm already happier. Okay, look, see that? See, like this is kind of like frayed looking, and I don't know, it just doesn't look right. So we're fixing this, and now he's looking so much better. So I'm also gonna add a little bit around his little berries. Like that. Oh, so much better, guys. I am so much happier now. All right, that's like the part of the perfectionist in me. All right, so I'm gonna go around this side, and I'm not going around the whole, I'm just kind of touching little lines of black, okay? And I'm gonna go around his scarf, so I might do a little here. And there. On this side. Maybe a couple little lines around here. Yeah, this is looking so much better. All right, oh, look at that. My one little bristle's going off. You might hear my kids in the background too. They're being a little loud. That's okay. All right, so I'm just gonna keep going around. Adding a little bit of black here and there just to kind of make him stand out from his background. All right, so let's see. Yeah, this is looking better. And around there, his little belly and his bottom half. There we go. And then a little bit over on this part of the scarf. I might add a little bit of black on his scarf fringe. And over here. There we go. Maybe a couple little, I'm gonna add some little lines in here too. Hold on. Okay. The brushes really do make a difference. I'm telling you, if you get those sometimes they have those big value packs of brushes, and like, although it's a great value, the bristles and stuff are a pain, so you're not gonna get something to look as nice and neat as you would if you just spent a little bit more and got a smaller pack of brushes. Okay, all right, so I think I'm done with my outlining. Now we're gonna add some little snowflakes. All right, so I'm using the same brush that I used for the outline, and all I'm gonna do is make it like super little easy black snowflake. Okay, so I'm doing a line down. This is so easy. I don't even know. You don't even need me to show you this. It's so easy. Okay, so I'm just gonna make like a little star snowflake looking thing, and then I'm taking the back of my paintbrush. This is a little thicker. I'm gonna take a smaller one, and we're gonna just dot little ends on our snowflake, just like that. See, look at that. cute, easy little snowflake. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to add glitter to this as well, because I feel like out of all the holidays, Christmas, I think I use the most glitter on like door hangers and canvases and all that, and signs. Okay, see how cute is that? All right, we're gonna add like one up here. Maybe I could add like one partially going off right here. Let's see, we can do one over here too. All right, I'm gonna have this one kind of coming off a little bit. And let's see, this way, and maybe this. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and add this here, little dots on the end. Super easy. Now you could use like a glitter paint and go over all of it, or add glitter in certain little areas, or you could actually use like some glue, like school glue, and add some glitter, or Mod Podge. I end up using Mod Podge a lot when I'm doing glitter. Okay, or wait, I don't know. Oh, I have my favorite. This is my favorite glitter. I'm sure I probably showed you guys this before, but this is like my all-time favorite paint glitter. I love it. It's the best, and it looks so pretty when it's dry. I'll probably end up putting this on it. All right, so let's add a couple more little whimsical snowflakes. Let's do one coming off down here. Okay. Oops, let's do this the right way. Okay, and then let's add one more up here. And I think we're gonna be done. A little more paint on my brush. Okay, little dot ends. And you could totally make your snowflakes more intricate than this, but I kind of just like these little black snowflakes with the the black outline of the snowman. You could make them white as well too, put more details if you wanted to. Okay, almost done. And then what I would do after, I need to paint the back, but what I would do too is add like a ribbon. I could either like hot glue it, or I could also put like a staple on the back and put like a cute little ribbon to hang it off. Or I could drill 2 little holes and hang a wire, whichever. So yeah, that is a little snowman. Let me know if you paint them, because I would love to see a picture of what you've done, because I'm sure you can come up with other creative ways to change things up on your snowman or make it a snow girl. I am just so thankful you guys came and painted with me today, and keep an eye out for more Christmas in July painting things and crafts. We're gonna be doing some more, and also some more giveaways. I love giving things away, so this is like super exciting to me. So I'm gonna be giving a few of these away. All right, I have a total of 3. Okay, so all I need you to do is share this video, and in the comments here under this video, go ahead and tag some friends, and then just let me know that you shared it, so that I can give some away.